Hi there, I'm Becky Hammond, host of this ITV podcast, where we fixate on strength to make relationships easier. Because we know that when we can start to ask, what's right with those people, instead of what's wrong with those people, whether they're on our family or on our team, we can really make those relationships easier, make the family or the team smoother. And today you are joining us for episode 133. Welcome. This is the fifth in a series of 5 that a colleague and co-creator of Leaders Who Give a Damn program, Murray Guest, and I have created to be able to walk alongside you as you go through your Success Map 2021. Now, if this happens to be the first episode of these 5 that you are catching, make sure that you do 2 things. One is catch the other 4 episodes that came before this, as well as get your free PDF Success Map. It's just a 4-page document that you can find over at leaderswhogiveadamn.com in our resources section, and you can download that for free, and it gets you started here in launching a vision, launching what you see as what would be successful when you get to the end of this year for 2021. And today, we kind of get to wrap it all up. We're gonna be on the bottom of page 4 of that success map, and we're gonna be talking about a word or a mantra for the year that you can set that helps you not only be excited about the vision that you've created, but also be able to set it in front of you every day to walk towards what feels like success and hope and happiness and joy in this coming year. So we are honored to get to walk alongside you as a leader, as your virtual coaches through this process. And we look forward to this final conversation today about your word or mantra and setting and casting that vision for 2021. So let's dive in.
Hi everyone, welcome to Conversation 5 in the Success Map 2021 series. And this one is all about that word or mantra for the year to help you achieve your goals. Becky, you and I were just chatting about, we're excited about this one.
Yeah. I've been saying, I said that I've been getting through every conversation just to get to this one. It just feels like the most fun, the most creative, and in some ways it has the potential to be the most impactful.
I also want to recall something you said to me also. It seems to be something that is gaining popularity. More people seem to be doing this as well, which I love. And I'm loving seeing the different words or phrases people are coming up with to help them feel centered and work towards those goals this year. And I'm really looking forward to this. I've loved our conversations as well. So please, if you haven't listened to those, make sure you listen to the previous conversations we've had about setting yourself for success in 2021 as we've stepped through the success map. And if you don't have it, it's a free resource available at leaderswhogiveadamn.com/success map 2021, also on the resources tab. So grab it from there and listen to the previous conversations to help you set for success this year.
Yep. And we're at the bottom of page 4 today. This is the last half of that last page, and there's a little icon there talking about mindset and what that word or your set of words might be that will, now that you've done all this work, right? You've reflected on 2020. You are thinking about what would be where in all areas of my life, what are some goals that I have? And now last conversation, we're talking about how can we chunk it down so that we can start now to make actionable change by bringing people alongside us who can hold us accountable. And so let's talk about that word. Oh, what is this? Where does this come from? What's this idea that we have around creating a word or a mantra for the year?
Well, for me personally, it started about 6 years ago in a conversation with another leader who said, hey, I do this. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And I started doing it. And I've been doing it since and sharing it with different people. And I certainly am not the inventor or the creator of it, but it's something I picked up from this leader.
Sure.
Doing a bit of research, it seems like it's been around for a while. I mean, dictionaries produce their words for the year and things like that. Time has their person of the year. I even found some article about someone suggesting a word for the year back in 1945 in a letter to Time magazine. So to find the actual Origins are quite hard, I think, to find where it started from. I've also heard Oprah talk about it, and other people that do work in personal development and professional
Yeah.
development as well. I think it links beautifully to mindset. And you just mentioned that too, Becky, at the bottom of page 4, where we talk about the word or phrase and our mindset. So, I mean, this may be an obvious one, but we want to pick a word or a phrase that connects with you, that supports that growth mindset, that supports you having a mindset that helps you work towards those goals. So a word like fear, maybe it doesn't sit real well.
That's right. I mean, is that your guide? Is that where is that the sense that you want to be your guide the entire year? Probably not. We talked about that in our first conversation, this first episode of the series, about what is a growth mindset and does that matter and why is it important? And so now we're looping all the way back around. How do we attach a word or a phrase that's meaningful to that growth mindset?
And just like companies have values, and a set of values, there might be 4 or 5 words which underpin the culture. Some companies do that really well, where those values or principles are integrated into their culture and their organization. Others, not so well. Honestly, I think one of the best organizations I've seen do this really well is Master Foods, which is part of Mars Incorporated. I worked there for 11 years, and I left there 16 years ago. And I can still recall the 5 principles that the Mars family came up with. Quality, responsibility, efficiency, mutuality, and freedom.
Wow.
Because of how well ingrained they were into everything we did, into the systems, into our conversations, the way we work with suppliers and with consumers. And it was just done so well. And just like this word or phrase for you, it's not about coming up with a word today or tomorrow and saying, okay, that's it. It's about this word or phrase embedding into your life in a few different ways to ground you and help you as you work towards those goals.
Yeah.
So, Becky, what are some of the words or phrases you've used before that's helped you?
Yeah, I've been reflecting on this. It's really fascinating, even as an exercise, to go back through and say, okay, what did I set out at the beginning of the year with this overall sense of where I was going? What words did I use as driving and defining visions? One of the years I used sleep and silence as my 2 guiding words. And
I just say, I want to jump in. I'm so excited that you've picked those words, because I think
I have ever in my life picked those words.
Because they're not words I think that people might automatically think of, but there's some inspiration there about, and here I am rudely interrupting. Sorry, I'm just excited. The sleep and silence is fantastic.
Well, and and they're not heavy action words, right? Like they're not go-getter words. But yet what I was realizing from the reflection on the previous year is I had no margins. I had no opportunities for thoughtfulness, or I don't know, but little opportunities for thoughtfulness. And I was exhausted. And so what is it that I can do to focus on that? Well, let's just put these words in front of me and be like, okay, when I have a choice, I need to prioritize sleep and I need to prioritize silence. And when I look back on that year, it was a really trying year. My husband was deployed. I was pregnant with our 3rd baby, who was born while he was gone. And towards the end of that year, my mom passed away. So she was sick that entire year. Like, I think I look back on that, it feels almost providential that I was trying to prioritize things that bring rest and things that bring reflection and thoughtfulness, so that I can look back on that year and not regret it and not like be in a fog the entire year. So, I mean, that feels like the power of setting those words, and then, the power of reflection of looking back, like, that was a really not just functional but inspiring guide for the vision and day-to-day life.
Can I ask, do you recall throughout that year referring to those words of sleep and silence to help you, to guide you throughout the year, or did you like set them, like how did that work?
And then kind of forget. I mean, I think they can be powerful actually either way. But I had them on our refrigerator. I had written them on this little card actually that my sister had sent me. Through her business, she had sent out an inspiration to everybody that she had worked with in the previous year, saying, hey, what word would you maybe put before you for this coming year? And so she had like a little
cute little thing that you could write it on. So I wrote it on there, and then I just stuck it to our refrigerator. And so there were times, often the tired times of like, bracing against the refrigerator, like, what are we going to eat to feed these like humans that seem to want to eat every day? It's kind of strange. and to say like, okay, how am I prioritizing sleep and silence? And it wasn't always possible, but in those moments where I could, yeah, I tried to put those in front of me and make them make a difference in how my year went.
I love how, and I actually can visualize you walking to the fridge thinking, oh, okay, I'm juggling feeding my children and thinking about your mom and everything that's going on and David being away. And then you're like, okay, but silence. If I can create some of that space for my own silence, that's going to help me be at my best for others as well.
That's right.
And setting you as you go along throughout the year.
Yeah.
Another perspective that you and I were talking about recently, which I love, because maybe some people feel pressured about, oh, I've got to pick a word for the year. What is my word? Everyone else is doing it. It's I haven't had my divine download of word or whatever it is.
Yep.
But Leanne talks about an invitation. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So Leanna Tankersley, she's an author who I follow, who just is a very real, raw writer. And one of the things that she challenged people to do this year was to come up with their word of the year, but she gave them a little, how-to tutorial. And one of the things that she mentioned in there was that this is an invitation. This is not pressure. Like, allow the process and the word itself to be an invitation into the year. Like when I was setting sleep and silence, that's like you said, it's not like go-getter, and it's not that inspirational in my mind at the time. It wasn't that inspirational, but could it be an invitation into something else, into in our case, as we've been going through this success map 2021, like, could it be an invitation into how you might achieve your goals, or the way you feel as you're working towards meeting those goals every day? And it takes the pressure off, because an invitation is lovely. It's not pushing you, it's not driving you, it's just inviting you in.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking how this might look for some people. And let's say you're taking a road trip and you've got your destination, that's where you're working towards. You've got your map or your phone with your map in it, and you've got your path, planned out where you're going to go on this road trip. But then you need some fuel in that vehicle in your car to get you there. This is that fuel that's just going to keep you going, to keep you moving forward. Right. I'll be honest, Becky, start of last year, I felt a bit, I haven't come up with a word for the year. My friends have, and some of the leaders I've been talking to have come up with a word, and why am I not good enough? Where's my word? I was one of those moments. And then the word that hit me was every day. And I don't know where it came from. I can't recall, but it certainly helped me through 2020 to think about every day. How am I showing up to be my best? How am I showing up for my clients, for my family, as a father, as a husband, for my friends, as a son to my mum? So all of that. And then every day for my own well-being and health. Like, am I drinking enough water every day? Am I stretching every day? Am I investing in my learning? And I recall throughout 2020, when it was tough, I would slip and think, okay. And every day is written on the bathroom mirror. So brush my teeth or have a shave, and I'd see every day. Okay. So that again, no pressure. It just came to me, and that really helped me and grounded me throughout 2020.
And I love, this is like a huge connectedness moment for me, because I love that the word every day was something that you put up in before you knew what type of year 2020 was going to be. And that really, the leaders who thrived the most were those who were present every day, right? Who just said, okay, today's a new day. We do not know what it's going to hold, but I'm going to show up with that grace and kindness that we've talked about in previous podcast episodes that aired earlier in 2020. And that there was an everyday element to really thriving in 2020, that you had to kind of show up just afresh every day. What's going to happen today, and have an attitude and perspective that kind of match with that. So, man, I love that.
Yeah. So a couple of points for people listening to help them come up with a word or a phrase that might work for them. One is there's no monopoly on words. So if you hear a
Truly.
word or a phrase from someone and you think, oh, they've already taken it, I can't have it, just let that go. Someone might have picked a word like courage and you think, oh, I want to have courage as well. So that's totally fine. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you're looking for a word or a phrase and you want to do this and you're not finding something come to you, change your environment. Go for a walk, move around the house. If you're in lockdown or not lockdown right now, whatever you can do, you might be able to go for a walk outside or just stand outside, or go, if you can, get out in nature and go for a walk or a ride or whatever it might be, but change your environment and just think and ponder. And my third recommendation is, if you're still thinking, grab a blank piece of paper and just start writing down words. Just write down lots and lots of different words, and something will just pop out to you also through that process as well. You might do a mind map or a list of words, whatever works for you, but you'll start to just jot those down and a couple will jump off the page, and then which one feels right for you. And I got my word last week through going for a ride on my bike, as I love to do. And then this word came to me and it sat with me and it's stuck, and I felt it in the stomach. I was like, oh, yes, that's the word that's going to help me be at my best in 2021.
What's your word? You can't leave us hanging here.
And tune in next time. No,
I know, exactly.
So I was thinking about this idea of up leveling, or how can I improve in what I do, and how can I improve in just general. And I thought that doesn't sound real, inspiring or exhilarating. And the word that popped into my head at the time was thrive. And just we've got a few indoor plants at the moment. And those indoor plants, when they get a new leaf, we celebrate. Like, oh, look at that. This one's growing and it's beautiful and they're thriving. And how do we get the sunlight and the water just right? And our vegetable garden's been thriving. So when that word came to me, it just really sat really well. And for me, it's about how can I thrive this year, personally, professionally, help my clients thrive, help the leaders that you and I work with, Becky, thrive, so that we can be all at our best and not just get through the year, but thrive. And so I'm really inspired by how I can integrate that into my day-to-day actions as not just a coach and a facilitator, but just as a person.
Yeah. Cool. So do you have any ideas about how you're going to wrap that into your daily reminders? You talk about on the bottom of your success map there, it says, reminders are a great way to help you maintain your mindset and of course keep this at the top of your mind. What are you going to do to put that in front of you every day?
So for those listening, you won't be able to see this, but it's already on my phone screen. So it's on my phone screen. I just held up to, if you're watching this on YouTube. So it's on my phone screen. It's on the mirror. I'll be writing a blog about it as well, and sharing. And also, I do a weekly review, just how things going, what's coming up, and just bringing that into that as well. So how am I thriving? Thinking about some questions there to drive. But I think being the person I am, the more I talk about it, the more it keeps it alive. So talking about it with my clients and talking about it with my friends and family and having those conversations will definitely help me integrate that in. Now, drum roll. Drum roll, please.
What are we drum rolling for?
Drum rolling Becky's word or phrase for 2021.
Oh man, talk about accountability. Whew. Okay, so I've been kicking around a lot of stuff. I've been asking all sorts of people. Speaking of people not having monopolies on words, there's two people, from two totally different areas of my life said that their phrases for the word were do less better. I mean, it is there could be books written about that probably.
Yeah.
And so I love that as an inspiration. My dad said, who's the hardest worker I know and who loves his job probably more than anyone that I've ever met, says maybe just do less. Instead of do less better, just do less. You could be at a point where you're just like, it's like my sleep in silence. I just need more space. So as I've been kind of talking to other people, I just kind of keep having this quote from Mahatma Gandhi continue to go through my mind, which keeps showing up everywhere in my life. And it says, be the change that you wish to see in the world, or that you want to see in the world.
Mm.
And so I think I'm just saying it here. I'm just solidifying it, codifying it. Is my words this year are be the change. And so there's definitely an invitation in it. There's a little pressure because I feel like, okay, first of all, what is the change that I want to see? And then second of all, how do I daily practice that?
Yeah.
How do I really, maybe it has to do with giving something up. Maybe it has to do with acknowledging certain privileges that I have. Maybe it has to just kind of being inconvenienced of, one of our kids is extremely sensitive to the homeless. And the other day he said, well, if we don't want to just like give them money all the time, why don't we give them gift cards? And I was like, that's a great idea. Let's do that tomorrow. And then I was like, no, we're not doing it tomorrow. We're doing it right now. Like, let's go get gift cards and do that. Because if I want the world to change in a way that people see others, no matter what their status in life is, as valuable, important, worthy of our attention, then I can't just say let's do that tomorrow. There's an inconvenience potentially that comes to this like idea of being the change. So it's like one of those things that has come from like every direction. Like, it's on, all of a sudden it shows up on the back of a shirt that I bought. And, David talks about it from some guy that he just, randomly was introduced to from a colleague. And, I think the signs are everywhere.
Yeah. And can I just say, for those that are listening, of course you couldn't see it, but as Becky was explaining that, I could see a shift in her energy as she said that. And I was inspired. I thought it was beautiful to see how that really connected with you. I mean, it's such a powerful quote, and I love that be the change. It's not just doing things, it's how you're being, how you're showing up day in, day out.
It's a good insight.
Yeah, with the conversations. And I mean, that's such a simple example too, but a powerful example of as leaders, as parents, and the example we set. Oh, we'll get around to that, or we might do that tomorrow, but no, let's do it now. Let's set the example. Let's create that through the way we are being. So that is fantastic. Yeah, I felt that, and thank you.
Thanks. Well, thanks for holding me accountable, because because sometimes it's scary. It's scary to set something that feels big, or it feels like your word can feel like, I don't know if I'm going to get there, if I'm going to feel thriving every day, right? Like maybe it's impossible to really be the change every day, or maybe it's impossible to really truly feel like you're growing a new leaf every single day, right? But it's all a part of the process, and just keeping that word and that mantra out in front of you is really going to help connect you back to your mindset, which hopefully then connects you back to your goals and your action, to look back at the end of 2021, to look back and say, yeah, you know what? Maybe things didn't go exactly how I wanted, but I set out what I set out to achieve. And I was energized and doing things that were in my strength wheelhouse, investing in the things that were important to me along the way.
I was just thinking also, Becky, about how in the Leadership Dividend program, we talk about questions and how important questions are. And what I invite people to consider here as well is you might come up with a word or a phrase, but also to help you live that and to help you be that in 2021, how you can tweak that into a question. So for me, thrive is that word, but the question I'm thinking about is, how am I thriving today? Or how am I helping others thrive today? And then that's going to get me thinking and acting. For you, Becky, it might be, how am I being the change today? Or how was I the change today in your own reflection? Whatever version of that sits well. And that I think is a way just to get us engaged with the word, and as opposed to just sort of sitting there as a footnote.
Yeah. Love it. See, I told you I was going to like this conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited. The thing that I love too is all the people that have been sharing their words with me get me excited, get me inspired. And then I'm also thinking, futuristically about how does conversations are going to happen throughout the year about how is your work going. Like I want to know throughout 2021, how's Be the Change helping you throughout all the amazing things that you're doing as well. So this has been such I think a great final conversation in this series around helping people, as you said at the start, get clarity in those goals, the lessons from 2020, and the actions to take to work towards those, and then grounding that through this word or phrase.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Yeah. So if this is the first conversation that you've happened to have caught, you can grab the free resource over at leaderswhogiveadamn.com/ I don't know how I'm expecting you to get it if I can't even remember what it is. So just go to the website, leaderswhogiveadamn.com. There's a resources page there. You're going to find that Success Map 2021 there. And you can we will, as soon as every one of these podcasts are up, you can find those over at the website as well. Otherwise, hopefully you've been listening along on Inspired Energy or on Insogo TV or on the Leaders Who Give a Damn YouTube page. And we are glad that you've joined us, and we would love to know, first of all, what your word is. So when you come up with it, or even if you're kicking them around, tag us on Instagram or LinkedIn, and let us know, how is this word process coming along for you? What is your word? And we'd love to just hear what your success map process was like for you, and what are some of the things that you got out of it, and what you're hoping for in 2021 as a result.
Yeah, I think I would love definitely to know some of those words or phrases that people have come up with, and by sharing your insights and what success looks like this year, that again helps keep it alive and make it real by putting it out there. So please, anything you'd love to share, we'd love to see that as well. Thank you for being part of this process with Becky and I. And Becky, thank you again for your time, your inspiration. It's awesome working with you, and I look forward to conversations throughout 2021 as you be the change.
Thanks. And I will be following you as you grow and thriving. Awesome. I'm going to think of that green plant.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everyone.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. There we have it. You just successfully wrapped up this Success Path 2021. It has been an honor to be able to walk with you as a leader through this process of reflecting back on 2020 and casting your vision for what you want 2021 to look like, to feel like, and what goals you need to meet in order to get there, how to take action, and now today, finally, coming to what word or what mantra is really going to keep you motivated on an everyday basis throughout the year. So as we talked about earlier in our conversation, we would love for you to share what you've been learning throughout the process, what you came up with as your word or your mantra, or hey, if you're just still kind of tossing around some ideas, we'd love to help. So you can direct message us on Instagram or on LinkedIn. You can tag us on either of those platforms as well. And we would love to continue to engage in this conversation and this process with you as you launch into or continue on at this point, 2021 that looks the way that you want it to look. That at the end, you look back and you're like, yes, I was the leader that I wanted to be this year. I was the leader that inspired other people to follow. Also, in the meantime, if you are looking for a way to dive deeper into your strengths, or you're kind of curious about what the next step of coaching might actually look like beyond this podcast coaching where we've been able to engage over video, what would it look like to have one-on-one dialogue? Well, there's an email coaching program called Strength Startup that really helps you do just that, where I get to jump with you into your top 5 strengths and get to help you along the way to reflect and to respond in a way that works towards growth and towards pointing your strengths where you really want to go, where the type of joy and vision that you have for this year and beyond. So if you're interested in exploring more about that, you can go over to my website, isogostrong.com/strengthsstartup. And for being a podcast listener watcher, I want to make sure that you get $5 off. So when you check out, you use the promo code virtualcoach5. That's virtual coach, all capitals, and the number 5 there at the end. And you'll get $5 off the Strength Startup e-coaching program. I hope that I get to know you a little bit more through your top 5 strengths. Thank you for joining this Isogo TV community, where we know that we can make relationships easier by fixating on strength. And forgetting weakness, okay, we have to mitigate for it, but we'll talk about that later. Forgetting weakness and fixating on strength. So until next time, the world needs your strengths. So learn them, love them, and live them. Until next time on Isogo TV.